Hello, boys and girls. It is I, Abe Lincoln, here to tell you more about the Civil War. Remember, a civil war is when a nation is at war with itself. In our wonderful United States of America, it was the northern states against the southern states. And in the last few weeks, we've learned all about the reasons why this horrible war started. The argument over states' rights, the argument over ending slavery, and my election. And as you remember, these red southern states seceded and chose their own president, President Jefferson Davis. I was still the president of the Union, the blue states. So today, I want to tell you the story of the first battle of the Civil War in a place called Fort Sumter that was in South Carolina. Let me now take you to the generals in charge. As you know, General Robert E. Lee was in charge of the Southern troops, and General Ulysses S. Grant was in charge of the Northern troops. Yes, this is Ulysses S. Grant, and today I am going to tell you about the battle at Fort Sumter. Yes, and I, General Robert E. Lee, will tell you more details as well about the soldiers who fought with the North and the South during this Civil War. There were indeed many battles during the Civil War, such as the battle at Fort Sumter, the Battle of Gettysburg, and Sherman's March to the Sea. But today we're going to learn mostly about the battle at Fort Sumter, which was the very first battle of the Civil War. All of these battles were fought to keep the United States of America united as one country and to grant slaves their freedom. Well, the battle at Fort Sumter was the first official battle of the Civil War. Fort Sumter was a Union fort with troops stationed there. The South made a daring attack on Fort Sumter on April 12, 1861. I, President Lincoln, had a difficult decision to make at this time. I had to defend the Union troops and the fort, and it meant that we were going to have to go to war with the South. As soon as the first shots were fired, the South had officially gone against the North. By the next morning, the Union troops' food and ammunition had run low. Fort Sumter was burning all around them. Major Anderson, who, by the way, was in charge at the fort, ordered his exhausted men to hold up a white flag of surrender. Luckily, no one was killed during the battle, but the states who had not taken sides yet quickly did. It was official. The Civil War had begun. Yes, indeed, the first shots of the Civil War were fired at Fort Sumter in South Carolina. We want to tell you more today about what it was like to be a soldier during these times of the Civil War and during these battles. So, journey with us as we tell you a bit more and introduce you to some of these brave men. Soldiers during the Civil War had it tough. They had to live through the dangers of battle with little food, water, and sleep. A soldier had to carry all of his gear, including clothes, dishes, canteen, rifle, ammunition, and a blanket. They marched all day long, no matter what the weather. You were lucky if you did not get shot, injured, or taken prisoner. Soldiers had to follow orders from their commanders, no matter what. Soldiers not only had to be tough, they had to be brave, too. Well, let me introduce you to a Union soldier, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about himself. Well, hi there, folks. I'm a Union soldier, and I fought for the North. I am also known as a Yankee. I would wake up as soon as the sun rose to practice for battles. In between my drills, I had to do chores, eat, and clean my equipment. I also had to fix my uniform. We Yankees wore blue uniforms with brass buttons and special belts and harnesses to hold our weapons. We were allowed to write letters home and play card games in between our training. The average age of people joining the Army was 25 years old, but boys as young as 16 were also enlisted by the end of the war. Soldiers like me were paid about $12 a month and were drafted to join. If you came from a rich family, you were able to make a large donation so you didn't have to fight. As you can see, that's not what happened to me. I put on this blue uniform and I became a Union soldier. Now, hey y'all, I'm going to tell you about the life of a Confederate soldier. Soldiers for the Confederacy like me also lived day to day like the soldiers for the Union. We were constantly preparing for war by practicing drills, keeping our uniforms in order, and cleaning our weapons. Confederate soldiers like me were called rebels or graybacks. That's because our uniforms were made of gray wool. They had a special belt and harness to hold our weapons. We had shiny gold bucket buttons on our jackets. We made about $10 a month. Like the Yankees, we rebels had to carry a knapsack that held our personal belongings, which included a canteen, a musket, and a blanket. You had to be at least 18 years old to enlist in the Confederate Army. Well, there you have it, folks. You've learned a little today about the first battle between the North and the South at Fort Sumter, South Carolina, where the first shots of the Civil War were fired. You have been reminded that in charge of the Northern troops was General Ulysses S. Grant. And in charge of the Confederate troops was General Robert E. Lee. And now I am going to leave these young men to do their drills and chores on the battlefield on this Civil War battlefield ground where we stand. Goodbye, boys, and good luck. What in the world? What in the world is right? What are flamingos doing on a Civil War battlefield? Yeah, what are you guys doing here? Don't you live on the coast somewhere? Well, we decided to arrive because we find your uniforms so dull and appalling. Look at us. We're the brightest, most vibrant creatures around with our pink feathers and long, tall legs. We understand the value of a dash of color here and there to jazz up our outfits. But look at you with your gray and your blue. How dull. Boys, may I make a recommendation? We would like to give you a little makeover to make your outfits look a little bit better for this war. Are you ready? I don't know. I don't know. Well, just go behind that tent over there. Go behind the tent. We'll help you. We're going to help you get changed. Just a minute, folks. Just a minute. We're going to help. Now, come on out, boys. Come on out. Let's see how you look now. Now that we have bedazzled your outfits a bit to make them a lot more glamorous for this war. Oh my, look at that splash of color and that bedazzling. Oh no. I sure hope the general don't see us like this. This is a disgrace. Well, all we can say is some people have no taste. Ta-ta, boys, and have a sparkling day on the battlefield.